Somewhere right now, someone is working 70 hours a week optimizing a strategy that stopped compounding in 1995. They are not lazy, they are not stupid, they are simply running the wrong code. Marcus Aurelius identified the underlying bug 2000 years ago, not in a business book, but in a private journal he never intended anyone to read. That honesty is precisely why it still holds. I'm Marcus, I teach wealth philosophy. Not get-rich-quick tactics, but the structural principles that determine whether any tactic compounds over a lifetime or quietly consumes it. Today we are ranking 5 wealth-building paths for 2026 by leverage, yes, but more importantly by a Stoic filter that most modern finance books have never thought to apply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" It is a deceptively radical question. Applied to wealth, it becomes, does this path serve your life or does your life now serve the path? That is the Stoic wealth filter, useful only if it does not enslave you. An income stream that demands your perpetual anxiety is not wealth. It is a gilded cage, and the Stoics had no patience for gilded cages. With that filter established, let us begin the ranking. We start at number 5. Not because it is unimportant, but because it is where nearly every serious wealth journey must begin, and almost no one treats it seriously enough. Path number 5. High-income skills. Naval Ravikant calls them specific knowledge. Capabilities so rare and contextual that they cannot be trained in a classroom and cannot easily be outsourced or automated away. In 2026, the most valuable high-income skills sit at the intersection of AI fluency and irreducibly human judgment, the ability to direct systems, not compete with them. This intersection is extraordinarily poorly populated. The Stoic approval. Yes, but conditionally. Epictetus, who was born a slave, understood that a skill owned internally cannot be taken. But a skill performed purely for income with no intrinsic engagement breeds the resentment that corrodes compounding. The constraint at rank 5, high-income skills, trade time for money at a higher rate, but they still trade time. Without the next 4 paths, you are a well-paid laborer, not a compounding investor. Path number 4, owning equity in systems. Buffett's entire career is a case study in this principle. He does not sell labor. He owns businesses that sell labor while he reads and thinks. In 2026, equity ownership is more accessible than at any point in human history. Fractional shares, index funds, private equity platforms, revenue sharing arrangements. The barrier is not access, the barrier is patience. The Stoic approval, strong. Marcus Aurelius accumulated wealth through inheritance and taxation, but the meditations contain no obsession with it. Equity owned quietly, held long, aligned with something you understand. This does not enslave. The constraint at rank 4. Equity ownership requires capital to begin and time to compound. Without seed capital from skill income and without path 3 to accelerate, equity alone is slow for most people starting from zero. Path number 3, building micro-monopolies online. This is the most misunderstood entry on the list. A micro-monopoly is not viral fame. It is a small, specific audience that trusts you on a specific topic and will pay for that trust repeatedly. In 2026, the internet continues to reward specificity over scale. 1,000 people who trust you completely on a specific subject are worth more economically and psychologically than 1 million passive scrollers who barely register your name. Seneca wrote that the whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. A micro-monopoly built on genuine expertise is one of the few wealth assets that improves precisely because you live your subject, not despite it. The Stoic caveat, a micro-monopoly built on performance anxiety, on metrics chasing, on audience approval as a substitute for self-worth. That is not wealth. That is a new form of servitude with better aesthetics. Path number 2, investing in compounding assets. Specifically the kind Morgan Housel describes as wealth that works when you sleep. Index funds, dividend equity, real estate with positive cash flow, royalty assets. The most powerful force in all of finance is time multiplied by consistent allocation. Einstein may or may not have called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world, but the mathematics are indifferent to attribution. The Stoic approval, highest among all external paths. Compounding assets held with detachment produce wealth without demanding your identity. You can own them and still be fully human, which is exactly what Marcus Aurelius would require. And yet, and this is the counterintuitive core of this entire video, path 2 is ranked second, not first, because without the first path, every other path on this list quietly collapses over time. Path number 1, the ancient discipline of self-mastery, specifically what the Stoics called the discipline of desire. Not asceticism, not poverty cosplay. The precise ability to distinguish between what you need and what you have been convinced to want. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men in the ancient world. He could afford anything. The Meditations reveal a man who spent his life actively resisting the inflation of his own desires. Not because he was poor, but because he understood the trap. The trap is this. Every income increase that is immediately converted into lifestyle inflation produces zero net wealth. You can earn your way to 6 figures and still be broke. Not because the math failed, but because desire expanded faster than income. Morgan Housel puts it precisely. Wealth is the money you don't spend, not frugality for its own sake, but the conscious decision to deploy surplus toward ownership rather than performance. This is the Stoic discipline in modern financial language. Without path 1, here is what happens to every other path. High income skills get spent on status. Equity gets liquidated during volatility. Micro-Monopolies get monetized into burnout, chasing the next revenue milestone. Compounding gets interrupted. Path 1 is ranked first, not because it generates the most money, it generates none directly. It is ranked first because it is the multiplier on every other path. Without it, the others produce income. With it, they produce wealth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In 2026, as in 180 AD, that is still the only wealth strategy that cannot be disrupted, taxed, or inflated away. Start there.